the beginning, Filipinas instinctively know that our youth is fleeting. We have no
Okay.
misconceptions about that. And we're all
Okay.
about finding a good man while we can,
That's a
amidst
start.
heavy competition. According to Quora.com, Western marriages at the turn of the 20th century were recommended to have a 10-year age gap for a healthy relationship. Why? Because an older man had a couple years to get a head start on his career and his wealth
Hmm.
accumulation, and a
Hmm.
younger woman had a few extra years of youth and beauty in the tank. Things were more naturally in sync.
I don't see this line of thinking as dumb. All right, but women in the West will be like, oh, you you don't even know who you are. You haven't even lived life yet. Why would you want to be tied down by some man? You can't do fun stuff with your man. You can't find out who you are with your man. And that man can't help you find who you are. You're not gonna do anything.
This formula of wants and needs is true of almost all relationships. So now let's look at the life cycle of the typical, modern, Western relationship and see how that works out for you guys.
Uh oh.
A woman in her late teens to early 20s is in the flower of her youth and typically the most attractive and fertile. If
Yep.
she's smart, she'll spend those years not just having fun, but securing a quality partner to journey through life with. But I'm afraid that Western women have lost their way in their quest to have it all. They've
Oh.
been sold a lie and told that
Uh
they
oh.
don't need a man or his companionship,
Talk
and
that
that they
talk.
should empower themselves so they can lead a life of wish fulfillment. Put the kids on hold and partay, which is really easy to do when you're holding all the cards, and men are climbing over each other's backs to get to you. And what does that attitude do to the perceived value of a man? It diminishes it because you've been convinced that men are of little value and so easy to get. But by the time they realize the truth, they're scrambling to find a chair before the music stops. And even if they find a good man who wants them, they somehow feel they had to settle by settling down. Once married, maybe with a few kids, the relationship might finally be in equilibrium. The woman is happy to be with a man that provides for the family, makes her feel safe, and they enjoy each other's company for a few years. But later on, when a woman's sexual desire winds down and she's just not as into it anymore, the older guys who've been married know what I mean. A Western woman whose life was permeated with feminist overtones might wake up one morning, see her dirty socks on the bed again, and decide that she really doesn't need or want a man anymore.
Oh my god.
She's accumulated enough wealth, either yours or what she's earned herself, and the quality of your companionship just isn't enough to keep her happy.
Oh,
And
I
guess
wish a
what?
woman
In
would.
her eyes, your perceived value decreases again.
Uh,
And if you think that a verbal promise of "till death do us part" and a piece of paper will save you, good luck with that. You lose more than half of your stuff and end up older and alone, with nothing but the realization that the flower of your youth was spent chasing something that was never really yours in the first place. Like
Oh,
some of you guys say, she was never yours. It was just your turn.
oh,
You
this
still have plenty
hurts.
of value, but not so much to the women of the West.
We have to give the passport bros a break because not much is going on over here, right? We have women conditioned to be independent and to focus on themselves and their achievements and their careers, right? Just have everything you want in life. Have a side dude, right? Get your weekly orgasm and keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. Don't settle down. Don't a- adopt any wifely skills, or if you do have wifely skills like cooking and cleaning, don't put that on a man. Oh my god, this one woman was so hard headed once. I asked her, "Hey, could you like help me fold my socks?" I was folding my laundry. I was like, "Hey, can you help me out with my socks?" She looked at me crazy. She could have folded my socks clean socks, fresh out the dryer. She couldn't do that. She looked at me. She looked at me like she was a little slow. She's like, I don't know how you like to do it, so I'm just not gonna touch it. You can't fold a sock for me. You don't know how to fold your own socks. I didn't ask you to do it perfectly. I just asked you to a sock, some nice socks. I got some pretty nice socks too. All right, I got a nice little sock collection. I like silly socks. The freaking nerve. What? Because you're not my girlfriend? I can't get girlfriend treatment? Well, I'm not your boyfriend, and I still give you boyfriend treatment. Duh, duh. because the man's actions have to portray a sense of competence, right? She has to, she has to in some way, shape, or form be able to depend on you, right? It gets their gears going, right? It gets their coochie moist, right? Seeing a competent man, a disciplined man, it gets them going. We have to see that side of you, and the only girlfriend side that women provide are opening up their legs on command sometimes.
But now for the good news. Take the same life cycle of a relationship and map it onto the reality here in this country. From the beginning, Filipinos instinctively know that our youth is fleeting. We have no
Okay,
misconceptions about that. And we're all
okay,
about finding a good man while we can,
that's a
amid
start.
heavy competition. All Filipinas know that every day, a new crop of thousands of eager young women have their 18th birthday and join the hunt for a man to spend their lives with. And there just aren't enough good men to go around in my country. Add to the situation the fact that Filipinos aren't as sensitive to the issue of age. We really can find older men attractive, and we don't just pair with them out of desperation. That's something a lot of you Western guys just don't believe, don't trust, and don't understand because it's so alien to you. But I assure you, it's a
I'd be
real thing
surprised.
here, just as it was in your country not so long ago. According to Quora.com, Western marriages at the turn of the 20th century were recommended to have a 10-year age gap for a healthy relationship. Why? Because an older man had a couple years to get a head start on his career and his wealth
Hmm.
accumulation, and a
Hmm.
younger woman had a few extra years of youth and beauty in the tank. Things were more naturally in sync. So, why is it so hard for you to believe that this type of May December mindset still exists here?
I don't see this way of line of thinking as dumb, all right? But women in the West will be like, oh, you you don't even know who you are. You haven't even lived life yet. Why would you want to be tied down by some man? You can't do fun stuff with your man. You can't find out who you are with your man. That man can't help you find who you are. You're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna find who you are. Women will cry and complain about something that happened to them when they were a child, and they're in their 30s and 40s and still use that as an excuse to why they're single, or why everybody runs away from them. They're not even doing, they actually aren't doing any work on themselves. If that's still an excuse, if that's still playing a role, go seek a therapist or something. But you're not actually doing anything about it. And here's a guy telling you, hey, you're misguided. Let me show you the way. Take my hand. I will take care of you. I will teach you. I will guide. I will lead you into happiness with me at the helm. They'd be like, what the? They'd be like, what the? You crazy as hell, man. Trying to control me, trying to tell me what to do. Uh, excuse me, just combative.
Men and women who marry at the same age are often evolutionarily mismatched. The life cycle of the relationship is out of sync, and we end up wanting different things at different times. But if you have a gap of a decade or even two, things fall back into alignment for both of you. That doesn't happen much anymore in the West, where the average age gap is only 2 to 3 years. But that's a fairly recent change in your culture. And yet, to listen to some of you, you think it's always been that way. At any disparity in
Right.
ages must be the result of greedy, desperate women and dirty old men. Well, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. So, how's your system working out for you in the West? At the rate you're going, in a few more decades, the women will be older than the men when you marry, if marriage is even still a thing. I guess you'll be fine with marrying older women, but you need to understand that it's not the natural way of things. And in my humble opinion, it won't work because your needs aren't synchronized. So, what about the glue I mentioned that holds a relationship together? Companionship. How does that work between a Westerner and a Filipina? Well, if you think that older Western men and younger Filipinas can't fulfill each other's needs for companionship and a desire to share each other's lives, you just don't get it.
I hate the argument when women say like, "What is it? What is a dirty old man and some young 18-year-old woman gonna talk about?" There is no connection. What are they gonna talk about? What do you mean? What are they gonna talk about? I don't. I don't meet anybody I share similar interests in. Barely, barely. If you like to drink, if you watch anime, chances are we'll get along just fine. Aside from your beliefs and values, as long as we're respectful of each other, we we will have a lot to talk about. And I assure you, anime and drinking won't be the bulk of our conversations. It's just a stepping stone. If you have two people who want the same goal, I want to get married, I want to have a good life, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, and they get along. Was That's all you need. Do y'all get along together, and do y'all have the same goal in mind? That's just about it. None of this. What do we have to talk about? She's not gonna get my. He's not gonna get my memes. He's not gonna get my my pop culture references. Who gives a damn? Explain it to him, and then he'll teach you a little something. Duh. Do you not like history? Is history boring? Oh, okay, I hate history. But I'd be the guy in this situation, so I'd be spitting some knowledge, some wise owl knowledge. Y'all see I have a little gray hair right over here. Yeah, I'm getting there. Salt and pepper look.
Filipinas are all about companionship. We don't spend the day taking tennis lessons and going to afternoon brunches with the girls. We're happy just being with you, day in, day out. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what
Yes.
you need?
Yes.
On the flip side, you Westerners often make great companions too. You know about the world. You're fascinating to talk to. And you challenge us in ways that local life never has and never could. Filipinos often see younger men as immature players, as more of a flight risk, and will gladly trade a few extra inches of waistline for a more mature man, not just for his wallet, but for his loyalty. Having a man that's serious about you and will stick around you as your companion is another form of security, and it has way more value here. In the West, government support programs and employment opportunities have replaced you and one of the main things you offered women. So they don't need you for that anymore. Your overall value to them has decreased, but not here. Now, some people with an axe to grind try to make relationships between foreigners and Filipinas sound unhealthy at best and downright depraved at worst. How often have you heard someone say, expats are just perverted old men who want to do it with young women? And how often have you heard people say, Filipinas are only after a man's money? Money, money, money. Well, there's some truth to both those extreme statements. But instead of looking at it in a cynical or sinister way, why not say, Western men and Filipinas each have something the other really values?
Uh-oh.
What's so different about that from any relationship? Which
Talk
is all
to
about
them.
fulfilling each other's needs when it comes
Talk
to
to
sex,
them.
security, and companionship. It just sounds to me like we're a really good match.
Let's go to the Philippines, guys. Let's get out of here. Let's go where we are appreciated. This is all I needed to hear.
What could we possibly?
This is all I wanted to hear.
And there are plenty of women here that would be overjoyed to make your acquaintance. Now, one word of caution. The system works great as long as you stay here. But if you take her to the West, be careful. Because one of her big needs, financial security, will be abundant there. And the only thing keeping you together will be the value of your companionship. Only you can guess how strong that bond is. So guess wisely, my friend. Hypergamy works in mysterious ways. And while it's mostly negated here, it could rear its ugly head in the West.
Yeah, that's scary. That's the only drawback. You might want to come back to the States. And then she's exposed to all, just everything. Everything. I'm afraid to have kids because of how they might turn out. Exposed to this world that we're in. Let alone some woman that I know you're gonna pick a nice looking one too. And if she comes back, other people will let her know, right? You're gonna have to just keep her in the basement. You gotta keep her in the basement. Take her for a walk. She needs some natural sunlight. Feed her, of course. Pat her on her, rub her little head. Tell her, I love you, baby. No one understands me but you. No, I'm not calling her. I'm not saying to treat them like a dog. Why would you even say that? You guys are annoying.